what's up, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happen? You guys know this is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Whether you need a custom computer for gaming, streaming, music, creative business, they got it for you. You can get $100 off your entire bill. Use code CPPOD at darkfusionsystems.com. Make sure the podcast below. Thank you guys. Now to our feature presentation. There's a band called DONEFOR out of Florida. And one of the guys in the band, his name's Parker. He's been following the podcast for years. And now he's got a band that's really starting to pick up some traction in the Florida area. And we dive deep in with him, Riley, and Zach from the band, all about how to start and grow as a young band from the jump. Yeah. You want to see how to get this done. You want to know how to do this. And you want to see a band that's actively doing this right now. This is the perfect podcast for you and the perfect interview for you. Also for good music. You guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. I would not be doing my job if I wasn't showing off every type of band I could from the rock and metal spectrum, whether it's some of the biggest artists out there, the best up and coming ones, or some of those that you're like, I can't believe I've never heard about these, that are growing, trying to get their foot in the door, and boom, we've got one of those for you today. Best part about it is one of these guys has been following the podcast for years at this point, has his own band right now with these other guys that are here, and it's going to be a beauty to talk to all about, to actually bring someone who's been following this bad boy for quite some time with a brand new band since 2022. So let's see what we got going on. So coming all the way from Florida with a pop punk, slightly metalcore twist to it, with a album called Sleep On It, which came out last year for you guys to go check out. So don't sleep on it and enjoy this episode, enjoy this conversation. So let's go. So please welcome Parker, Riley, and Zach from the band DONEFOR to the podcast. So gentlemen, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Happy to have you guys here. And it is kind of wild to have someone that's been following the podcast for quite a while, start their own brand, get stuff going for them, and actually get to interview them too. So Parker, this is absolutely wild. So, I mean, I'm a little kind of taken back by it. Right?
I remember talking to you when you not first started it, but when it was picking up. And then I saw you started getting these much bigger bands. I'm like, how do you get this one? How do you get that one? And I was like, there's a few I've seen from the GFM. The Gold Frankenstein and Myrrh, that female band, and then Limbs, and all those bands that are within like years ago were much smaller, and they've all, so you've had a pretty good track record at finding them, and then they start, maybe it's the podcast, right?
Maybe
it's been a pleasure to watch it over the years, and finally get to be on this thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm hoping is, I get some of those artists on there, especially to start out with and, build up on them. Because I know it was like GFM now. I know they've split up at Magdalene Rose, the lead singer.
She's good. I've seen her. I saw her live once. She kills it.
I'm trying to think. I'm not even looking at the list right now of what I have. I know Kingdom Collapse is one of the ones I had on from the beginning. And they're
like touring with red jumpsuit and everything.
Yeah, Stain the Canvas from... where was it? From Italy. I interviewed them right when the pandemic broke, which was freaking wild. Trying to see who else is taking a look through some of these here.
Sink In. We played a show with Sink In. Those guys
Sink In. Great.
Love those guys.
Sink In's good, yeah.
Blacktop Mojo was on here. I interviewed.
I love them. They're.
I had From Ashes to New back on, or like 2021.
I am literally on that right now. Yeah.
Which was like wild. Then like now last year I had From Ashes to New on once again, and it's like they're so much bigger. I'm like, how the hell did this happen? Had Seven Dust last year. This year I had While She Sleeps and Alpha Wolf within like the span of a week of each other.
Nice.
So it's like
man. Yeah.
Like I'm still trying to get those like bigger bands, because if I can get to a point where all of a sudden I'm interviewing some of the biggest bands out there, yeah, I'm gonna be happy as all hell doing that, because also for me that means a lot more money to me for this. However, I never want to forget the mission of trying to actually put so much light on the younger bands, on bands that are upcoming, because if we're not actually giving you guys attention, then what's the point? Because then you're not going to see that next group or that next wave of great musicians come up.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
The next group of mid musicians, right? I mean,
don't pigeonhole yourself, Parker. Jeez, I'm trying to give you guys like the absolute like pump up, and you're like, yeah, mid musicians. Nah. We're not using any of those internet terminologies these days. We're going with the ones that are classic. We're going upcoming. We're going the next big thing. I'm not saying big things coming, because that's the classic like young band thing to say and post online.
Yeah, big moves. We got
Well, hopefully you look back at this episode Hopefully you look back at this episode and you're like, wow, I'm so glad I got done for while they were like attainable to get on the podcast.
No, my plan is to still say, man, I'm glad I got them on like before they were like kind of hard to get, but also at the same point in time, it's like, well, now the Chord Progression podcast is an even higher demand, and bringing them on is still going to be as easy as possible.
True.
Absolutely.
Synergistic.
Well, let's let everyone get to know about you guys first. Let's do this. So, there's probably not many people that are on this podcast that are listening right now that know exactly who you guys are. So I want to give you the chance to give everybody like the history version of DONEFOR, the origin story. Make it as good as the first Iron Man. So the origin story of DONEFOR, just like the first Iron Man, go.
I'll start it, since then we'll pick up with Riley, because this is where we'll hand off batons here. So no one ever tells you how to do music, and that's the hardest part that no one knows, is that starting point, right? You don't know where to record, how to record, what to do, and that's kind of where I was at, and I started recording some really crappy music, which one does, and then I wanted to play a festival for our college at FGCU, and I kind of knew Zach from a gym that we worked at, and he'd play guitar, and he knew Riley, and he's like, yeah, Riley can play some drums, and we kind of pieced it together, had a roommate of mine and another friend play it. We did 3 songs, and we're like, whoa, this was fun. We did an original that I had written, and then for the longest part of the time, it was just under my name, and we just didn't want to make a band because we didn't know how to do that either. And then eventually we're like, wait, we have all these songs that are original that people are starting to like. Why not just keep going and going and going? So then after a point, we got a lineup of adding Christian on drums. Didn't really have a consistent basis until we had Leo and took him from a different band, kind of, and had Riley move to guitar, and had Zach stay guitar and whatnot. But after that all started and everything, we had this album of random music collected, where some of it's mine written, some of it's band written, and it's going to so many different teams, and we had that come out. And then Riley, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, so Sleep on It was kind of like a conglomeration of a couple songs that we had written, and then a bunch of songs that Parker wrote. And we were like super, like we weren't really ready to invest in music. It was so hard to like scrounge money together to get like good music production and stuff like that. So we had like a bunch of different people work on the tracks, and then we finally kind of got a groove going. But now we have 4-ish tracks in the works right now, a couple about to come out over at Pog Audio in the Everglades. And it's finally to where like we have a good producer working on with us. It was, yeah, a good team. Because before, what we did was we wrote the songs, we recorded it at a really cheap studio because it was just what we could afford, and then we would send it to a producer. We wouldn't even like work with him that much. It would kind of be like text conversations and phone calls. Whereas this time we're like in the studio with him. We're he's really challenging us to, I think, write better music too. So I'm really excited about the stuff coming out. And then, yeah, from there, I think we just kept on getting good shows and stuff like that. Parker is really good at networking with radio stations and promoters and stuff like that to get us on with big shows. So that's kind of how we got to this point, just played Brightside Fest with Sublime, 311, Goldfinger.
Let's stick at the beginning. Let's keep them waiting for that one. Okay.
Well, that's for retention right there.
Clickbait.
Yeah, clickbait retention right there. We said names: Goldfinger, 311, Sublime, Popcorn.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah,
but that's I mean, one of the things that really stands out about that whole entire piece is, especially where you start out that part where it's like no one tells you how to start a band, no one tells you how to do this stuff. It's kind of one of those things where you just have to go and just give it a shot, give it a try, because every band is different. Every genre of music is different, and trying to get into it's got to be done in completely different ways. You're not going to get into it the same way that bands got into it before the pandemic, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, maybe even last year as well, if for bands that people want to start out, given the fact that the world is consistently changing over and over and over again. But that's kind of a beauty of it too, because if there is no set way to do it, then you can do it in any way you want, and it's going to make sense. You don't have to follow a certain formula of, oh, you need to get this first, then this, then this, then this, and this, and then you need to do this. There's no steps. You can start writing music as early as now. You can start learning your instrument as early as now. You can start getting inspired as early as now on whatever you want. And then just by doing it and by putting yourself out there, you're going to attract other people that not only like the music, but also like doing the same stuff you have, maybe have a similar passion, a similar goal, because you're already mindseted into that. You're putting yourself out there, and then you get to connect with guys like Zach, like Riley, who are going to end up having a similar vision, you having a similar goal. Then you work together, you become friends, you go play some shows, you go record some music, and before you know it, as if you know the world actually works the way it's supposed to, in a couple of years you guys are touring across the United States in a van and making crazy TikTok content or whatever the social media platform is that's popular at that time, having a blast and showing people, hey, we're doing this because it's what we love. And from Parker's standpoint, that he doesn't have to work with kids as a teacher anymore.
Yeah. I think, Parker, you should talk about, because also one thing that I feel like a lot of younger bands, people that are trying to get into the game, a lot of times you have to fight to get onto shows, and sometimes you really can't do that. Setting up shows. Parker did a lot of setting up shows himself as the promoter, because a lot of times you kind of have to fight with these promoters, or just even you have to honestly get lucky sometimes to get on shows.
Well, yeah, if you want, I can delve into that a little bit. So the thing is, where we live in Southwest Florida, it's more of a tribute band, old people retirement area. They're not crying for a local scene for new music or even bigger bands to come through. We had a show with Silverstein. We didn't play it, but they had a show where in the area with Silverstein, Rise Against, and 4 Year Strong, which is an amazing show. That's like once in a blue moon here. They're never going to have things like that. It's always tribute bands. So in the local scene, you've got to, like what you said, with having no set way to do it. The one way that's always going to work is just to make relationships with people. And to quote my friend Jed, who is a man who helped us a lot, he's a guy who works at the radio station. I sent emails to thousands of radio stations. I got one yes. And that yes helped us get onto all these other opportunities, where just that one yes and the graciousness of him helping us out helped us get songs get mastered from Grammy winning art like producers. You're Welcome is is mixed by a Grammy winning producer who's produced for all the bands we like. And then a few other songs are in the same thing, while some other songs are mixed from local studios. It shows exactly where talking to people and being someone's friend, or just being someone that cares about making a community, will get you. So with making shows, it was hard down here because there's no promoter. Most places have a promoter. It's a nice luxury we don't have. And it's either you play at the local scene, which sometimes the venues like certain bands will keep doing that, and it's hard to get your name in there unless you make those connections, or it's the national things that those people don't care about you no matter what you do. So we started making our own shows, playing in pizza shops, and I would promote and learn how to do these skills. And that's something I think every band should be able to do, is learn to do new things all the time. It's a lot of times that they just expect things to happen. You've got to, music's the smallest part of this at this point. Yes, be good at music, work on your craft there, but you've got to learn to be a promoter. You've got to learn to be a person that's able to talk. Whoa, that thumb's weird. You got to be able to. I was like, what I do? You got to be able to promote. You've got to be able to communicate well. You've got to be able to schedule. You've got to be able to even make designs that work. If you can save so much money, and people will like you if you're able to make posters for shows or make things like that. Every little skill that's in the industry, try to learn it and see who can do it, because that's one step closer to having something that another band doesn't. While it's not a competition, I think it's a community, and the whole idea is to make people want to see this community, not just your band. It's just for yourselves. You've got to just get out there and do it. So with us, that's what we kind of did with making our own shows, promoting our own shows, making our own flyers, having other bands buy into it, and building a community to where, hey, you guys want to go see this show? Hey, you guys want to go see this show? And it'd go from 15 people to 20 people to 30. Then we'd get the more shows at the actual venues and get that. We sold out one of the venues here that has never, ever been sold out. And we had a line of 70 people at the door. And it was the coolest thing. That was our album release show. And it was something I wasn't expecting. We were making thousands of dollars from it. And I'm like, that's just no promoter, just building it up all together to something that people want to see. And that's where you kind of can start most cases.
I think that's probably the most important thing one of the most important things I've heard in the podcast, just given the fact that, when it comes to being in a local band or being in a brand new band and no one really knows your name, when it comes to putting you on a bill or trying to get you on a show, when it comes to promoter standpoint, promoters are there to make money. That is the whole product. They're going to put on a show that's going to make money. And if they have nothing to base it off of, or if you don't have a relationship with that promoter, relationship with that venue, the easy thing for them is to say no. No matter how good your music is, you could literally be Bring Me the Horizon, but if no one absolutely knows anything about you, knows who you are, you've never played a show, promoters are not going to give you the opportunity. However, when you go out and try and figure out how to do this on your own and take charge in that, that's where all of a sudden you start to pick up some of these skills. You pick up some of these nuances, what works, what doesn't, and you start to build from that as well. It was similar to the podcast. When I started out, I know I was interviewing bands that no one had ever heard of at the absolute bare bones. Anytime I got one that was slightly bigger, it was all based on a relationship I had with somebody else that could help me out with that. And then as the reputation started to build up, I could start going to different, like you guys do with different promoters. Me, it was going to PR firms and asking them about the bands that they work with, building up the relationships there, building up the overall repertoire there, the reputation there. That's the best way to put it. And then continuing that positivity and growing and growing and growing to the point where now it's, you guys are able to go make shows on your own, able to work with promoters that know that you guys are going to bring that positivity, know you're going to draw, and you know how to make that happen. Similar for the podcast as well. Mm-hmm. So for any young band out there, if you're able to try and pull something off and learn exactly how to do some of these things, it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. And it's not going to come easy. But when you learn it and you figure out how to do it, it's going to set yourself apart from other bands and give you that necessary experience and exposure to really get started with those promoters. You can start playing in some of those venues that might be 50 cap, 100 cap, 200 cap, maybe opening for some bands that you've always wanted to open for because they know you're going to be able to bring it.
Yeah, I think one of the more important parts and one of the hardest lessons we've had to learn was, like you said, you could literally be Bring Me the Horizon. If no one doesn't know who you are, they're not going to care. It's not enough to be a good musician nowadays. It's not enough to be a great band. You have to be a business person. You have to know about business marketing, and you really got to market the crap out of
events and throwing events. You want it to be something people want to go to. If you think of it in another sense, if you are a random person looking at this in the 3 seconds that you scroll by it or look at a poster, what makes you want to go to this? What makes you feel the urge to go to do something you have no clue about?
Mm-hmm. I've never heard of these bands. You have to think they've never heard of you before. Give them a reason in that video, that promo video, that poster to go to the show and check you out.
Absolutely. It's a completely different ball game now, especially when with the way the internet is. It's like that middleman, that record company to get your name out there, to put the money behind you. Does it help? Yes, but is it necessary now? No. We've seen a lot of bands that have gone the independent route and have been successful with that. There's plenty of bands that I've been following over the past 5 years that are still independent, have been consistently growing because they've been able to do exactly that. They've given people reasons to check them out and to continually check them out over and over and over again. And it can be for any reason. It can be for just great shows, but also using that to promote themselves out online. Just random content out of nowhere, or just being the place where people go that is absolutely positive, like the band Opal and Sky or Patient 67. Their online presence is incredible, and it's something that drives people to go check them out and also become part of that community as well. Right. It's not anything where, being a great band and being a great musician, you're going to need to have the quality behind your product, which is your music, to really make this work. That's a key. That's a major key. However, you can't just rely on that anymore like you were able to back in the day, where all of a sudden you had some tastemaker that really picked up on it, someone from a record company that picked up on it, signed you a big deal, and then all of a sudden you're Motley Crue. No, it's not how that works anymore. You got to go out and do this yourself. Like, you've got to go out and do so much of this yourself and learn so much of this yourself. But the exact same standpoint, I have a little bit of a more liking to that, because now the effort is all on you. It's not really on luck anymore. It's all on you figuring out what works, executing out what works, and evolving with the changing time. Not with your music, how you want to do your music, but when it comes to shows, when it comes to promotion, when it comes to social media content, when it comes to getting your name out there, that evolves with the time.
Zach, your turn.
I need a question to answer.
I was gonna say before, if you have
No,
questions-
Riley, let Zach talk. God darn
I was
it.
just gonna say real quick, there's so many good bands in our like the area where we're from. They're so good, and we love playing with them. We try to get them on shows all the time and stuff, and they always deliver. But it's just like I feel like the only reason why they're not super big or super successful right now to the point where they can quit their jobs is because they're kind of lacking in that marketing department, and it sucks because there's bands that are incredible, but they're just not.
Don't even get to play.
It's almost like they never get
They
shows.
play with us, if anything, because we're like, we believe in you, but you have to have those skills. That's what it comes down to. You have to have the people in your team that are able to do exactly what a business does: market, promote, sell, find a way to reach new audiences,
And bother people.
bother the frick out of people. And Zach, you're gonna get a question now.
Yeah, Zach, you are going to
Me.
get a question now. And the question is, when it comes to the local scene where you guys are right now, exactly what Riley had said, is that something that you're seeing as well? Is that something that you think is what's going on and that could help out the local scene and help out everybody that's growing to have to be able to do these things well and not just say, this is the music and then just leave it at that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely seeing that from pretty much everybody in the local scene, and especially with us starting up, as we said, it's like trying to figure out what we have to do to, promote ourselves, to get people to actually go to our shows, to nudge promoters to let us on their shows, building content. I mean, just there's so many avenues that you don't have to go down, but that you should go down and you should explore to better expose yourself to opportunities. And social media is a great way. Parker's great at annoying the shit out of people to try to get them to just give us the time of day, and
Yeah,
that's
you should see how I promote to your mom.
whoa, easy there, Bucko. She's probably listening to this. I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, train of thought's gone, but yeah, I think a lot of local bands, the best advice that they can get is just grow your presence online and don't be scared of no. When you're talking to people, find the connections, do everything that you can possibly think to do to expose your music, especially if you believe in it, and you should believe in it. So
Yeah. Like for example, Parker is trying to get on to me to get a show over on the East Coast. And so I've reached out to so many bands. I'm looking up the freaking like roster for like good venues that we want to play at. And I'm looking up the bands, how to contact them.
There you go.
I'm emailing them. And it's just like you're gonna get so many people that ignore you, so many no's, so many maybes, whatever. But there's gonna be like 1,000 no's before there's one yes. And it's like the thing that all bands hate doing. I hate doing it. I wish I could just play music and get shows, but the reality is that's not how it works. And that's a thing that the some of the smaller bands need to
It's unfair, man.
It is unfair, but that's just the way it is. Nobody cares about us.
It is unfair, but even from the podcast world too, it's the exact same thing. I've got a list of bands it's above my monitor here. Like I have it taped to one of my Rise Against posters, and it says like bands that said no or said I was too small or something. So I reached out to them, and they just like blatantly said, nah, it's not happening. And I look at that all the time as like a reminder of like, okay, keep driving towards it, keep striving towards greater things, because eventually a day is going to come where they might even reach out to me and ask me to interview them. And am I going to do it? 100% yes. Some of them are my favorite bands in the world. I'm not going to say no to that. I know they said no because it's a business decision. It's not anything like a personal vendetta against me.
It is business.
Yeah. However, there's a lot of times where people do not want to deal with that rejection, or they feel like if they're going to be ignored, that is like an absolute no. No, maybe there's a good amount of times where people are just super duper busy, where they don't have the time, or they're just constantly flooded with messages where they just miss yours. What ends up having to happen is you have to keep going at it. You have to keep going at it. And if they say no, at least at that point in time to move on to the next one, and you don't have to spend your time anymore trying to focus in on that, show or getting booked on this with this artist or whatever else you're trying to do. But one of the other big keys too is, especially if you're in a band, remember, you might have 3 or 4 people, maybe 5, not everyone has to do everything, especially when it comes to the business side of things, especially growing. If someone is really good at communicating with these people, creating those relationships, absolutely let them drive it. If someone's great at booking shows, let them drive it. If someone's interested in all the social media stuff and really wants to drive that, let them drive that. You can delegate that, so then don't feel like you're so completely inundated having to do everything in a one-man show.
Parker, you take that.
No, yeah, we know nothing about that. Parker actually shares it with everybody.
But if you have someone like
anything about having us help, so
I would say if you have someone like Parker though, who just is all about doing this stuff and just wants to do it himself, then you guys can focus on the music. And
Zach, you're too pretty to do all this work. I'd never want you to do it.
yeah, you're damn right I am.
All right.
It's always a discussion. It's like someone feels like someone's not doing enough, whatever. I feel like with every band, I've been in a lot of bands. This is the first like original band I've been in. I've been in like cover band, bar bands. There's always just one
Boy
or
bands.
two. Huh?
Boy bands.
Yeah, I've been in a couple boy bands, I compare us to the Jonas Brothers. Anyways, I digress. There's always one or two members that are doing majority of the work, and then the other people are strung along or whatever. That's just how a band is. But honestly, like all of our members are really, really good at what they do. Christian is one of the best drummers I've ever played with in my life.
Can we talk about him for a little bit? This is fun.
Yeah, let's talk about Christian. What do you want to talk about?
Christian, so yeah, I found him in the top of a parking garage playing drums, right? Actually, I brought an E-kit up there so we could all jam out. He shows up, starts fucking ripping on it. Freaking ripping. You can censor that. But
Jazz background.
You think I'm going to fucking censor that shit? Give me a goddamn break.
All right. So he's ripping on this John, right? So and I'm like, whoa, dude, you should join our band. And then eventually he decides to do it. But he doesn't listen to metal at all. He doesn't listen to anything. Except
he can't name 5 metal bands without,
or even hard rock bands. He doesn't know anyone like Breaking Benjamin. Half the bands we play with, he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So he doesn't know anything about the genre that we play. He still does it, and he rips at it, and it's just the funniest thing because we all have a similar thing. Bass kind of is like the punk ska.
He didn't know Rise Against. He was like, I've never heard of Rise Against. I'm like, bro, are you kidding me?
What? We played with Buck Cherry. He didn't know Buck Cherry. He didn't know
Buck Cherry. Yeah.
It's just it's so funny, dude, because he just goes, plays his thing. Yeah.
And then
he plays on a little drum kit, a small one.
Jazz kit, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about his drum kit. So we go to play. We go to play at these big stages like the Ranch or Brightside Fest. I feel like some people were commenting on it too. They're like, "What is this?" But the people that know it's a good kit. They mic it up at the Ranch and he starts playing on it and they're like, wow, that thing actually sounds really good. So now every time we go back to the Ranch, they're like, okay, I love this drum kit now. Like
bitch kit?
Yeah, we call it a bitch kit.
Yeah.
I'll say, what is it?
The drum's the size of a floor tom on this thing. It's not
so
an exaggeration. So
I'll say, what kind of kit is it? Just like a bass drum, two toms, a floor tom, snare, just like very simple.
Yeah, it's a full setup. It's smaller, like because jazz, it's more focused on the tone of the drums than the actual like feeling of it. So it's quieter. So you have to mic it up. He does have louder sound, which compensates. And someone tagged us in a
Someone
shirt.
bought a shirt, by the way. So
nice.
I don't know how to get the money, so I think we just kind of lose that, but YOLO.
Anyways, it's just small. Like the diameter of the drum kit is small. It looks like it's like a little kid's drum kit, but it's like a really good, actually sought after type of drum kit.
Interesting. Yeah. That's got to be something that, especially for you guys, that's got to be incredibly unique to you, especially anywhere in the rock and metal sense. Just because who else is going to have something like that? We're all used to seeing these like big giant bass drums, especially 2 of them, so people can double kick on them. You have the double bass going, have big massive cymbals as well, have a snare that, as long as it doesn't sound like the Saint Anger snare, you're pretty much good to go. But if you're able to use a smaller kit, mic it up, and have it sound just crisp and perfect and really flow with everything you're trying to go for, my God, that's a win. But it's also a huge standout point that no one else is going to have. Like, especially from like Parker's standpoint, that's a marketable thing.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. I've had that thought before too. I'm like, I don't know if this is necessarily a good look, but do I care? No, like it sounds good, and people are surprised by how good it sounds when it's
mic'd up. If I was in a crowd, I'd be like, okay, he's playing with the Lil Tex kit. And then
Yeah.
I see rip, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't familiar with your game. I apologize.
You just need to get a T-shirt that has like dude with no clothes on, just standing in front of the kit, but the kit's not that big, and have it say, "It's not the size of the kit; it's how you use it."
Hey, we're a family band, okay?
We're not a family band. We have a
Family
cigarette shirt.
Say, what
Cigarette
kind-
shirt. It's just to promote,
The done for pack, baby.
done for pack.
Yeah, family schmamly. The family's got to know that, especially when it comes to the kit, as long as you know how to use the kit, that's all that matters. Especially if they have kids, then they know
How
how
the
to use
families
kit.
start, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the ultimate origin story.
That's the ultimate origin story. You just have to start. This is where we start from the beginning. When a mommy and a daddy love each other very much, they make children that form great bands.
Yep.
They do. And have little bitch kits. It's great.
I have to come. I gotta start checking up on some more videos and maybe see this live, because I gotta see what a small little, what you guys call the bitch kit, sounds like, especially mic'd up. But I'm not talking like video wise. I gotta see this then live, because that's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, we got some YouTube. I can find you one. It's rather impressive.
Yeah, just look up our YouTube videos. On our vlogs, we have little clips of us playing live.
Oh, I don't.
Um,
I kind of covered the live video with it. The real sound.
I don't know if he's saying right now he wants you to show him a video. We're doing a
I'm
podcast.
saying, like, in the vlogs, I cover up the real sound. Just
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah,
compilation.
we do
Yeah,
have
but-
live videos though.
I'll say,
do
but
have
Yeah,
you
we
can-
do vlogs now. Those are fun too. So bands doing
Vlogs
vlogs
are a
is
good time.
fun thing.
I mean, I've seen a lot of bands do vlogs. There's always the ones that stand out. It's like where the band just start doing the most wacky, random shit possible. They have like, jackass style pranks in there. Just something that stands out where it's not like, oh, look at, now we're on the bus. Now we're at
No,
the
ours
show.
is like, let's say the last one we just did for the festival. Half of the beginning of it was just Zach fighting people, me talking about my friend who went missing the night before because he got drunk at a bar and he was missing, so we thought he died. And
MIA.
yeah, that was fun.
Leo's doing pull-ups on a bridge in the corner.
Yeah, he's got some issues, dude. And then just telling what the background of the festival is like, but like we don't take anything serious. Like,
But
for example, like, so we met the guy from Sublime, Jacob Now, great guy, Noel, whatever it is.
Mhm.
I saw him, he was in our little our green room, which was a tent. Wow, he has this big bus. I see him by himself and I'm like, get the fuck out of our tent, dude. just screaming at him, like, who the fuck do you think you are? And I don't know where I was saying what the story was, but that wasn't on the vlog. I wish it was, but stuff like that.
He was joking, obviously. He didn't actually.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he was super nice.
Proceeded to beat the living shit out of the lead singer of Sublime. And
30 minutes before their set, yeah.
He was a cool guy. He was very nice.
Dude, I
Yeah,
hung
he
out
was
with him for like an
awesome,
hour.
So that's the
Yeah.
kind of stuff you need to add in the vlog if you had that recorded. Just
But here's the thing, though. Yeah, but then it becomes the thing of like when you meet these people and do these things, you want it to be as wholesome
Genuine.
as possible. And I mean, it was a genuine just hanging out. I tried to stay off my phone. People came up all left and right all the time, just trying to get videos and photos. And it was so annoying. We're talking about flexing and taking trend and talking about, he used to be a teacher and I'm a teacher. We're talking about that. And we were talking about, how many hoes he was getting from Coachella in his DMs. Right. So he's a pretty dude. Right. So, say it, Riley.
He's a pretty dude.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say?
DONEFOR does not condone the use of Tren or any PEDs outlawed by the FDA.
No, he was
See,
in
that
the
stuff in the
vlog
vlog we do
very
too.
briefly.
We talk about gambling a lot. We talk about, drugs. So we just say in the captions, we do not condone it.
Yeah, we don't do drugs. We just talk about them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
peyote.
exactly.
Fair enough, but it does make sense too. It's like, when you're talking with them, you don't want to have that like, oh, camera, try and get this stuff going. And we were talking about too, when it came back to the promoters, when it came to being a younger band, building those relationships really does matter. It really does, because what happens if, okay, we'll use Sublime as the example. Now you guys got to, hang out with them during the festival, had a blast with it, had a great time. What happens if they end up coming back around to Florida sometime soon?
People, yeah.
And all of a sudden they contact you guys like, hey, remember you guys were playing with us at this festival, really enjoyed talking with you. Would you guys like to open for us? Now you're opening for what, like 3,000-4,000 people?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing though. It's like, again, it goes back to, do you want to enjoy the people you work with? The answer is always going to be yes. So, it's a business still. And what was cool seeing in the festival, everyone knew each other because they all lived in California, all were buddies, and they all were hanging out with each other. So again, if you're the odd one out where they don't enjoy you, you're not going to get shows because they're not going to enjoy playing with you. And that's the same for the local scene. Because it's like those bands, and there are bigger local bands in every scene, and that's what you want to build with a show is having some following, some newer, blah blah blah. But you got to be able to be on their good side to where they like you, and then you build up on that. It's just like building friendships.
Yeah, I will say most of the big bands we've worked with too they have been like really nice guys.
Buck Cherry.
Buck Cherry. They didn't
Not
really
to
talk
name
to
drop
us.
them, but
Yeah, they didn't really talk to us, but they weren't like rude outright. They were just kind of doing their own thing.
they don't talk to me. They're mean.
They were mean.
Yeah, I mean, they were on their
Sleep
tour
Theory
bus
was
until
fun.
their
They're
show
nice
started.
guys.
Yeah, literally on the tour bus till the show started. Then show ended, went straight onto the tour bus.
There are only two bands though that have been like that. It was Buck Cherry, and then it was 311. Straight business.
Yeah, but
Buck Cherry, 311.
311. They don't really care to make connections at that point.
311, dude.
Yeah.
They are.
Yeah, they're the reason why our set got cut short. By the way, don't want to call them
Because
out.
they did a 10-minute little drum solo thing. All those drums just for 10 minutes. Just
Yeah, they didn't have all
everybody in
their
the-
equipment at the venue, so we were supposed to sound check. We're going on. They're like, "Oh, hold on, 311 still has to bring some stuff on stage and sound check. So we're just gonna wait for you guys." Our set got cut to like maybe 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes. It was supposed to be 30 minutes. Yeah. Whatever.
But
We
the
were
worst
supposed
part
to-
was the sound guys were making jokes. They're like, "This is the part where we cut your set because we've got to find chairs for Sublime's friends." I could have punched them. And then they didn't know how to mic stuff. We got screwed over at the festival in that sense where we just played the amps all the way up because they didn't know how to mic them.
Zach was the only amp that was plugged in, so we were
Yeah.
going single guitar player. It was
I mean-
it was so annoying.
But we did fun. We had fun. People enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was
Looks
a good
on
time.
paper.
I'll say as long as people enjoyed it and it didn't end up like Blue Ridge 2023, it's gonna be okay.
It wasn't a fire
We'll
festival.
play later in the day next time, guys. Don't worry. They'll have it sorted out.
Yeah, love it sorted out. You guys will be playing later today, or before you know, Parker's gonna try and book his own festival and see how that
Make it
goes.
a beach party
There we
show in 2 weeks, guys, with a few bands. So we're like, that's exactly what we're doing. We're like, so we're like 1 week we're playing this huge festival, but doesn't work like that. Like where you stay consistent with it. So it's like you still got to work, and we're throwing a pool party like on the water in Cocoa Beach, on like near the beach, just a festival with like 4 bands. It's gonna be a 2000s pool party, do it yourself kind of stuff, and that's sometimes what you got to do, and just find new ways. And that's like a thing where you advertise. This is where it comes in full circle. Does somebody want to go to that? Well, you got to find a way to present it properly, that it's a pool party with bands, make videos, which I just did with all the bands and talked together, made videos, blah, 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 to do that. That's just stuff you got to do. And then it's like, oh, it's a pool party thing. I'd want to go with that, even if I didn't know the bands, right? So that's how you kind of gotta.
Yeah,
do
it's interesting. Like you have to. A lot of people think, oh, you played Brightside Fest, everything's gonna like, pick
handed
up for
to
you after that. Not really. Like it doesn't really. It's a much slower road
Even
than
though,
that.
yeah. So the promoters in Orlando, they have a ton of huge shows, but they obviously have favorite bands because they know the bands, and we haven't had the opportunity to really meet the promoters. Like we had a show with them with Dropout Kings, if you've ever heard of them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we played with them, but we never met the promoter. And then another show, we didn't meet the promoter. And now I keep begging for them, and they have Woe Is Me coming down, and they just had Famous Last Words. And I know, Woe Is Me. I freaking love that band. And they're having bands, and in the nice way, the bands that they know that are good, but they're not the genre. They're like alt rock because it's the ones that he knows, and that's how the connection. So I'm like, if I don't know shit, I'd kill it. But while we're getting a show on a Thursday at 8:10, so then you've got to make the best of that, and then they use that to
Yeah. It's even if you're getting those shows at like Thursday 8:10, what happens if the promoter is the same promoter for some of these bigger shows, even though they're more in tune with that? If you're the promoter show, they're probably going to be at the venue that night, at least for some portion of it. And you got to do your best, like Parker said, you got to do your best to try and meet them. Of course, you're not going to be able to meet them every single time, but you got to make a point of it. But the pool party one, like, that's something I like, you taking the bull by the horns. you're planning something, you're putting something out there where it's, all right, beach party, pool party, you got a couple of bands coming out there, you're marketing it towards, like that 2000 sound as well, especially with stuff like, emo night, sad boy Saturday really becoming a popular
Have
thing.
an emo night in Gainesville coming up too. Yeah.
So like I'm thinking about it from this standpoint, especially from this like pool party idea. Okay, if it would this be something I want to go to? Well, it's got a couple of bands showing up, so there's going to be live music that's being played, and you have you kind of give it that like time frame of an era of like, okay, it's going to be more of that like 2000 sound-ish that you're kind of wanting to go for, that you grew up on, have that nostalgic kick to it. Alrighty, there's a piece of it, but what's the other kick of it as well? Maybe at some point, between the bands, maybe you have a little bit of a longer period of time in between where you get the pool going and just have something crazy going there while playing a bunch of stuff that you'd hear at emo night or like a sad boy Saturday type deal where you're playing all the alternative stuff from the mid 2000s, having some sort of like weird contest, like, belly flop contest, cannonball contest, anything.
Beer pong.
Beer pong. Yeah, literally anything. Literally making it
bikini contest.
Yeah, just making it whatever you can to have it be something where people are going to be like, I have to go to this. And even if your music is going to be the focal point, but in the promotion of it, doesn't necessarily have to be the focal point to get people to come out.
Exactly.
100%.
Because I had an idea. This was back in the pandemic. It was like, what happens if, you throw a show and of course, people are in their cars, people had to be separated. Because I think it was up here in Wisconsin. It was like in October 2020, Beartooth did a drive-in show. And I was like, oh man, I'd love to go to that, but I want to mosh. I want to hit somebody. But I can't because of restrictions. But we're in cars. What if we did like mosh pit demolition derby?
Drive a semi truck through a bunch of parked cars.
Exactly. Like now I had this idea. I think I brought up to the band Belmont. They're like, dude, we'd be in if you pull this off. So I'm like, I'll bring it up to Parker because I'm like, if he's booking his own shows, like something like that, which makes no sense. But who wouldn't want to go and see a bunch of great music, bunch of great bands, and then in the middle of in the middle of the pit, there's just a big giant demolition derby that happens.
That'd be sick, dude. Let's do that. Content, bro. That'd be so good.
Bro, where'd my Volvo go, dude? I need that shit back. All right, let's go buy a few $1,000 cars and just. I don't know. Winner gets a sign.
I'm hearing music video opportunities, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just dropping knowledge on you guys, just dropping some good ideas out of nowhere.
I have a question that I'd like everyone's idea, not to turn this around. The era of music videos, is it dead and is it more focused on short promotional aspects? For example, I know a lot of bands, instead of making music videos, they just spend a whole day making TikToks like music videos and just have months of stuff made, because maybe you could argue there's not so much of a market for music video with VH1 down and MTV not really doing it, because back in the day they were showing and you were getting provided music videos. Nowadays you've got to, it's the other way around. The brand's got to shove it in your face. There's no one really showing you it. Like Vivo exists, but that's for real bands and ones that, yeah. So is the day of the music video dead?
Did you see that Further Within's music video got like over 50,000 views now? This band Further Within, I feel like, and they're like a local band, I think that is their most amount of views. Like, I think that's like more than their Spotify even. So I feel like it's a case by case basis. Like people on YouTube.
Well, I'm talking about in general over time now. Like, is it now compared to 2000?
Yeah. In general, I feel like it's less emphasis on music videos. Yeah.
I'll take this a little bit of a different way, and then Zach, you can jump in with your thoughts on this. But where I look at it is, it's the old way of it is dead because people's attention spans are shorter. You don't have anyone that's really promoting music videos like you had MTV back in the day doing it. But because they're so easily accessible and all the focus is on short form content, where it's different. However, it's a different format now, where I think of the best band I can think of for this when it comes to music videos is Electric Callboy, because you actually want to watch the whole entire thing. However, where it comes into work is with that short form content, they can chop up different pieces of that and share it in short form content, and it still works. So it's like, it's different where it's, you still can want to tell that whole story. You still want to show your overall idea and artistic idea behind it. However, you have to have ways where you can chop it up and then give it in short form content. Think about Electric Callboy with We Got the Moves. All of a sudden, you're looking at short form, you go anywhere. But when you get to the, them going in the bridges, da 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 da, the whole entire change over there works. Hurricane, where they're going from German Schlager type music to deathcore. That's something. That is absolutely something that can absolutely hit. Or use Falling in Reverse, Popular Monster, where Ronnie turns into a freaking werewolf. Like, that little piece in itself can be used short form style and get people interested not only in the song, but in the music video as a whole.
Yeah, I Prevail does a really good job with music videos too, promoting that on every social media and everything. You have to be really versatile with like where you're putting all your content and everything, and use other things as an opportunity to post it on other platforms and really milk it, especially music video.
Yeah, I mean, music videos are still getting millions of views from big bands out there. I mean,
but I'm talking about
something that happened.
My brother would like show me ones from MTV years ago that are like nothing, like Lagwagon and everything. So for all these punk bands and stuff, and it's just like, you would have a music video, it would mean a lot more than, for example, like, how people use the term national recording artist, right? Everyone's a national that back then meant something, because not everybody could record. You could be a band, but to actually record was a whole different game. Then you evolve into the game changing, right? You can record demos or really crappy stuff, which still would be fine. But then you have a music video. People are like, "Oh, you have a music video, sick." Now it's
it's not a make or breaking point, is what I was getting at.
In today's world, is what you're saying.
It's in today's world. It's not a make or break thing. You can still get a lot of coverage, and probably from people that don't even know your music outside of
the question more of
video or something like that.
Yeah, so it's not as in the 2000s though. It was more of a focal point than now.
Yes,
in the 2000s, it was like you have to have a good solid music video.
Like
now,
Sum 41, everyone remembers the videos that they were making
with Fat Lip, In Too Deep.
Exactly.
Fat Lip was iconic, dude.
Yeah,
I think at the same time, in modern times for music videos, you can record the music video and like you were saying, you can chop it up. You can make a bunch of those little short form content videos out of your music video as well. So,
yeah, definitely the production of music videos are really interesting nowadays.
It's cheating, dude. Unreal Engine's a bitch.
Yeah, but Falling in Reverse has some killer music videos now. I always think about the My Chemical Romance music videos where they actually like had sets and everything.
Yeah.
For everything, and like the Black.
I didn't know that. I didn't watch that.
Watch the Black Parade, bro. Watch the Black Parade, and then the Kill. All like it's
30 Seconds to Mars, Helena Salon Goodbye by My Chemical Romance perfectly encapsulate all of this with the set pieces. Unreal Engine can do a lot of crazy things, but then you also need to figure out exactly where that's going to work, because if you watch the new single from Motley Crue in that music video, it is like if you told ChatGPT, make me an 80s like hair metal music video for 2024. That's exactly what it was. And it's like, I'm laughing at it. It was just, but I keep thinking about like, man, Motley Crue is just absolutely terrible now. But just look at other videos, like use Falling in Reverse example, or use what Electric Callboy is doing. Or you have those moments, like thinking about this too, where the music video can still be important though, is reaction content. Because people are going to want to watch the full thing. But of course, you still want to have those bits in there that can be cut up for short form, because those are the bits that people are going to absolutely react to on the heavier side of things or really get behind. Think about To the Hellfire by Lorna Shore right at the end, where all of a sudden Will Ramos is going nuts and you see him just like manically thrashing around, pig squealing, and how people just went bananas off of that. And now look at what Lorna Shore is doing.
I found out about that song through that music video. Yeah. That was introduced to me through the video.
I know a lot of people pay, like, for example, who's the guy from Attila? It's Franz. People would pay Franz to be on the Sunday service.
Yeah.
He would take money for it. And then, I mean, that works either way. And I know Hardcore Keem takes money. Like, you pay to have him react and stuff. And that's a good way. But, I mean, I don't know. There's the idea of a music video. It's just also, Also, by the way, just a little band celebration right now. Every fucking song has been Shazammed this week. Name it, even the shitty ones. We had 71 just for You're Welcome.
We have 0 shitty songs.
No, and dude, 71 Shazams for You're Welcome, dude. That means it's on a good amount of radio.
Oh, that means it's on the radio, yeah.
But yeah, a lot of them, and there used to be just 3 to 4 songs getting Shazammed weekly. Dude, there's over, I think, 190 Shazams for this week with every song included.
But that's just a testament to the amount of work you guys are putting in to get your music out there that you've been talking about. Booking these shows, trying to create the shows for yourself as well, getting your music out there, promoting it, posting on social media, doing whatever you can to make sure that people actually hear Done For, people actually see Done For, people know Done For. This is what, you're starting to see that come to fruition, and it's great to see some of those results, no matter how big or little they may be, because it shows, hey, this is working to some extent. Can we make it better? Or is it working well enough now where we can continue doing this and we can just wait until this gets pop off? Or we can run this until we start seeing that taper off and then we figure out where to evolve from there.
It's a good take. Even Riley, like there's a song we both like called Blood for Blood. And it's great live. Everyone likes it. And same with Signal Fire. We got 2 songs that we really like, but they just don't perform well online. Blood for Blood's the second most Shazammed, buddy. All right. It's got 30 Shazams this week, which means
it's weird. Blood for Blood is one of those songs where it's like, it's got great production. It sounds really good. It's one of, that song's my baby, but that's one of our.
Just because you sing on it, bitch.
But dude, but it's got that. I don't know. I feel like it's weird that song isn't doing better than it is, and then there's other songs where it's like you can never really guess what does well. But Blood for Blood, we always play it live. We try to promote it, and it's starting to get a little bit of attention right now, but it's been out for over a year almost. I think a year.
August makes everything a year.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, well, it's close to a year, but I just feel like, wow, year for that song with all the work we've done on it, and it's not really paying off as much.
Who cares, man? The people pick what they like to like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you like easy shit.
It's like the customer is always right on matters of taste.
But I will say, our hardcore fans love that song, and I noticed them singing along in the crowd. That's one of the things, because there's people that come and travel like across the state to see us live. Who those people are every time you see them at a show, and they know that song because we always play it live, whether or not they listen on Spotify or not. I mean, they might, but whatever. We always play it live, and then people know it because of that.
And you can see Parker's emoji celebration happen with shocked face, party hats, big red hearts. Oh, he's in love, baby. He's in love. Well, guys, I got one more question for you before we wrap this up. And it's something I've been enjoying asking every single band I've had on since September. And I'm going to ask you guys this. So I've got 1, 2, 3 guys here. So I want one from each of you. So collectively, can you guys name me 3 bands that you guys absolutely love, that you would love to see get more attention on? They can be for your local scene. They can be bands you think just are, underrated, whatever it might be. It can be any genre. Doesn't have to be rock or metal. Go for it.
Can I start?
Absolutely.
I'm going to forget if I don't start. Okay. 1, this is a band that's sort of well known, but I feel like is criminally underrated. I just saw them live. Parker kind of turned me on to them, by the way. Ballyhoo. Reggae group, so good. They're like a punk reggae band. I saw them in Stewart recently. They're really, really good. But they should be bigger. And then 2, I'm probably stealing these.
You have a reggae song with a breakdown, and it sounds so good.
Yeah, they have breakdowns in it.
React to that. Listen to Riddled with Bullets. Do a reaction video.
Riddled with Bullets by Ballyhoo. And then 2 other bands that I think are really, like, these are local bands that I think are underrated. Bayfront View, we're playing with them May 18th. They're a really good punk band. Very good songwriting. And then the Dead Ataris, we've been friends with them for a long time. They're another local group. They do like R&B alternative stuff.
So he really just had to take all 3 of them, didn't he?
Oh, it was 3? Oh, that's 3 each.
No, it was 3 total, but yes. But Parker, Zach,
let's do 3 each. Come on, guys. 3. We could come up with 3.
I can't give you 3.
I'll do
3
one.
bands that are small that I think
this used to be a bigger band. I know they toured with Less Than Jake for a bit, and they kind of dismantled, so maybe it doesn't count. But there's a band called Pentimento. Excellent songwriting, and it's kind of just I don't know. They've just got some powerful full chords in it. Think of a lot of Spute if they weren't whiny and annoying. So, yeah, that's my. Even though I like a lot of Spute, I think I saw you in my dreams. Yeah, I hope you guys know that band, or else I sound stupid as shit. Do you guys know that
No,
band?
I've
A lot of
never heard of
Spute.
no.
I've heard them before,
Fucking
so I had to laugh at that.
Okay, good. A lot of Spute. Throw them on it too, Zach. Your turn.
All right, well, I'm kind of surprised you guys didn't throw it out there, but further within, I feel like just kind of waiting
Yeah.
for them to blow up at this point. So
Yeah,
that's,
they're like
definitely
a
my band.
wage war mixed with Bring Me the Horizon. They're all music majors. They're in Miami. They're friends with us, and they've helped mix some of our songs. They do everything perfect. Now we try our best to do our game perfect.
Mhm.
They do everything so professional, so good. They had a weekend where they played with August Burns Red and
Bless the Fall.
Bless the Fall. They played with Crown the Empire. They're killing it over in Miami, and they're working with Fame on Fire a lot. So I mean, that's a good one, Zach. And we're playing with. What's funny is we're in a competition against them in a Best of Florida Bands Challenge round
I'm
one.
not going to entertain that at all. That's stupid.
That's
That's
stupid.
so dumb.
I'm like, why are you doing? We play with them. That's who we play with too in Orlando.
Yeah, we
We're on
love
the field.
we're
We
good
love them.
friends
I'm
with
not
them.
even gonna. I'll
Super
vote
good
for them.
band.
Fuck it. They're better than us.
I'm not voting for
Yeah,
anybody.
they're better.
I might just post it once and let the people decide. But I hate this competition shit so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so dumb.
Sick
But
of
whatever you can do to get your name out there, that's the key. But if further within wins, then you know what? They
I
deserve
want
it,
them
right?
to win. Yeah,
Looks like
Solid.
I'm gonna have to add another band on there to the list of like
Dude,
bringing
you
them
should.
on.
I mean, go check them out, dude. They're radical to say the least.
We'll do, especially you said they work with Fame on Fire, and I literally got an email today. It's like, hey, we're scheduling interviews with Fame on Fire. You want? And I'm like, fuck yeah, man.
yeah,
Jacob,
dude.
who's it's Jacob, right?
Blake Saul.
Like Saul. Sorry, I'm thinking of a
Blake
different
Saul.
name.
He came to one of the shows with Fame on Fire. That's how we met. He's the guitar player of Fame on Fire. So
Supported us with some like voting stuff. He's a nice guy.
yeah, he's nice.
Really good guy.
They're
Cool guys.
they're good dudes because I've interviewed Brian back in like right before like Blue Ridge 2021, and I'm like I've always wanted to bring him back on. I'm like, this is the time.
They're great. I've seen them like 3 times. I love Fame on Fire.
Well, now we got to get more people to see you guys 3 or more times. How about that?
Oh yeah,
Heck
I
yeah.
agree.
So that's where we're going to end the podcast by doing this. 3 things. First things first, when it comes to DONEFOR, when it comes to find out everything you need to know about them, when it comes to listening to their music, checking out Sleep On It, which came out last year, checking out the song You're Welcome, which has been Shazam 70 times this week as of the recording of this, even recording this in the middle of the week, so it's probably going to be over 100 by the end of this week. On top of that, going to follow on social media to see what the heck they got going on, seeing everything they're doing, finding out about what shows you can go see. Go script for the podcast, which says Find DONEFOR online. Links and labels for everything going to be down there. So go and follow them. Go and check them out. Go and listen to their music. And if you can find merch where they got it, go and buy it. Because, well, that's a good idea. And I'm just telling you, spend money. Spend money now. Now, step number 2. Parker, I know you've probably heard this on the podcast before with other artists. And it's a promise like to make to certain artists that I enjoy from the podcast. And I mean, Parker, you're going to deserve this already for following so long, but you guys are welcome as well. So when I see you from live for the first time, I will definitely find you guys. If I have to call Liam Neeson on your ass and go like take it and find you, pursue you, I'm not going to kill you, but I will say hi and first round's on me.
Hey,
Oh.
we might be in Syracuse
Alright.
if that's close enough. I don't know. In August, we're trying to get on a show with August Burns Red, but
I'll say Syracuse is in New York. I'm in Wisconsin, dude.
I don't know how. Yeah.
It's a quick walk.
Is it quicker than driving? Which one's a quicker drive, guys?
Syracuse from Milwaukee to Syracuse, that's probably like 11, 12 hours.
Yeah,
But
we'll
Milwaukee,
let you know when we're coming to
Big fan, bro.
Wisconsin.
Big
I'll say,
fan.
but Milwaukee to, I'll say the Tampa area, that's probably about 22, 23.
See, save that gas money, man.
Save the gas money. Now step for number 3. I can end this podcast by saying goodbye because you guys are continuing to grow. You guys are continuing to do well. And how about this? Parker, contact me next year while we run this back.
All right, sure. Well, 1 year from now, we have so many new songs coming out, and hopefully, we're gonna have these bands that we're playing with, same shows, open for us. Okay.
Go.
We're going to make DONEFOR on the podcast a yearly thing now. We're just going to make it happen. So yearly round trip. Whoa!
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
So then,
down?
of course, this is not goodbye. I hate saying goodbye. It's way too final. This is not goodbye, my friends. This is now I'll see you later.
See you
All right,
later.
appreciate it, man.
Well, folks, this is my interview with the guys from DONEFOR again, Parker, Riley, and Zach. And now it is time for Kevin's final thought. I love the fact that we jumped into this and really got going on how to create a band and how to go about growing a band right from the get-go, because it is correct that we don't really have a set way to do this. There is no like corporate ladder or structure that you follow in order to do stuff or steps that need to get this done. You can do this in any way that's possible. But what I loved most about this episode and how Parker presented along with Riley and Zach is how they went about doing this, and how in music you kind of have to do all this stuff for yourself, and how important relationships are. But if you're not able to get those relationships built up, or you're having trouble with that, going out and find a way to do these things yourself as well. Because think about it from a live show perspective, from a promoter, you're not going to be put on a live show unless they have a good feeling that you're going to be able to make money for that show, or you're going to help amplify the ability to make money for that show. If they have no way to know about you, or you have no connection with them, then what's the point? So how do you build up on that experience? How do you build up on that ability to do it? It's simple. You got to find a way to do it yourself. Book a show in a pizza parlor or pizza place, whatever you want to call it. Book a show on the beach, book a pool party, whatever it might be. Pool party, I said pool party. Pool party like they're doing. Just find something that you can do yourself, figure it out, and go for it. And if it's something that you have someone in the band that really wants to try this stuff out and has the passion to do it, then have them help out with that. Have them be the ones to spearhead it. That's the other beauty too. You have people in different bands that have different strengths, have different interests, and you can maximize out on those to make the band as successful as possible. We don't live in the same world that we did pre-COVID. We don't live in the same world that a lot of these other bands lived in, where the great music and a good stage show would do you well as long as someone noticed you. No. There's so much competition out there, and yes, it is a community, but the competition to try and get that set amount of time, there's so much out there that you got to keep working at, you got to keep trying, and it's a crazy thing, but the more you work on this and the more you put yourself into it and the more you try these things out, the better you're going to get at them and the better chance you have for your band to succeed. Thank you guys. Thank you, Parker. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Riley. Go check out DONEFOR. Link to the podcast below, where you can find them on social media, where you can check out their vlogs, and where you can go listen to their music as well. All the links are down there. Also, links to the Chord Progression Podcast online are down there as well. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hit the subscribe button right down here if you're on YouTube for new episodes of the podcast every single Tuesday and Thursday, and Friday reaction videos as well. Also, hit the like button right down here, as we have new episodes every single Tuesday, or like button right down here. Just because I messed that up for a moment, but let me rephrase that. Hit the like button so that you can help push these videos in the algorithm and get more of these bands to be known about. Also, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit that follow button, hit the like button as well to help us out with the algorithm. Thank you guys once again, especially Parker, because of how long you've been following the podcast. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm glad to have brought you back on for the first time, but not the last time. Anyway, that's what you guys think for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one. That was a big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah!